shoot, you missed it. It came off in a violent explosion. That gear's pretty tough, man. It's like a gunshot. Good Lord. Anyhow, I'm sure the heat helped, but I was just I just basically used the puller to pull it off. So, yeah, what am I looking for? Just make sure, see how these threads are. Still good. The washer protected the end. When you go to put this thing back on, I heat it up in a toaster oven and it just slides right on, and it only goes on one way. It's tapered, so the fat end goes against the bike and the narrow end is facing you. So let's see, what can you see? So you can kind of see the seal in here, and I know it's kind of hard to tell right now what kind of shape it's in. And I think, as I indicated in my other video, I use this paint can lid remover to dig underneath here. And usually these things are just a bear to get out, but so I'm just using the socket extension to kind of, and I've got the bike good God, got the bike strapped down pretty good. Oh, there goes, did it again. There goes another gear. Make sure we keep that washer there. When you've taken this stuff apart 8 million times, those gears falling off, that doesn't really scare you. It doesn't scare you no more. Ooh, it came out. That was actually the easiest I've ever had on Urban Express. Now, this was the same with the other one. It had this like light brown crust on it, which tells, and it's real dry. So that tells me that this seal was not sealing. So I bought a couple new seals off Amazon. I think I showed you this part number before. 91202KB and 922. This is, nobody wants to do this because it's not easy. I mean, well, you got to have the right tools. You know, I had a piston stop, a propane torch. Learned about this thing, very helpful. This paint can lid remover. It's like a Bock at the hardware store, and you saw how it just popped it out. I got those 3-jaw pullers. What else do you need? I guess that's about it. And then I used the PVC pipe to push the new seal in. So what I'm going to do now, I mean, I think you saw most of this before. I'm going to clean out. What I do, I always have chopsticks laying around. These are good. What you do is you just like put the end, since it's wood, you don't have to worry about it, you know, tearing into the metal. You know, wrap some paper towel around it and just go in here and, you know, scrub off that mating surface. I mean, I'll be doing that for a while to get all this crap off. And got some sort of goodies there. And while I'm at it, I'll clean a little bit the inside of this transmission case. But yeah, you want this new seal to have the best chance. So clean it out good. Matter of fact, I might have to, my other weapon of choice that kind of helps dissolve some of this mess is water displacement 40, otherwise known as WD-40. So just squirt a little bit on your paper towel, and that'll help get some of this yuck out of here. But again, can't stress the importance of this enough. I mean, this has probably never been done on this bike or your bike. Because, you know, during the time that they were popular, back in the early 80s, I mean, most people probably rode them around for few years and then parked them, you know, when the gas crisis ended, you know, and gas wasn't so expensive. I mean, that was kind of the heyday for these things. And anyways, so, you know, if you had it for 3 or 4 years, you never had to do this. But then they just sit. Most of them probably sat for 20, 30 years after that. And, you know, it's just like a car. The worst thing you can do is just let them sit. They just rot. And, you know, these seals get dry. And then, you know, some idiot like me takes a shine to these things, and oh, I want to get one, and I want to get it running. And then after you get it running, you know, what's the next thing you want to do? Oh, I want to go faster, you know, want to keep up with traffic. So you put a top end kit on, and you don't replace these seals, and these seals leak air, and you know, you're wondering why you're having problems jetting it, you know, can't figure out the jetting, or it's bogging out on me at full throttle, it wants to cut out and die, lean bog, or having difficulties getting it to idle right or start up. And you're chasing your tail. You know, you're messing with all this other stuff. And here's your problem right here. So, yeah, I started out with the Yamaha QT50 and put a MLM People's Pipe on it. Didn't upjet. Learned the hard way, right? Seized it up. That sucked. Then, you know, didn't have much experience with these things. Didn't know what to do. Finally figured out, bought a cheap eBay kit for whatever. At the time it was like $85. Now they're like $37 for this, you know, cheap top end kit. Put that on, screwed up the installation of that, Got another one. Actually, had a friend put on the second one. He got it on good. But because we didn't do these crankshaft bearing seals, that one seized up. I think I put another one. Hey, I was getting a lot of experience putting on top end kits, right? Put another one on. Again, the same problem. And, or I had a temperature gauge at that point, I think, and so once it got to like 370, I would just shut it down. And that got to the point where it would just cut out on me on full throttle, and it was because of these seals. You know, they were letting in like way too much air, especially at full throttle. The faster you go, the more air that these seals let in. And so I couldn't figure out why it kept cutting out on me in full throttle. I was like, this is nuts. I was doing all kinds of stuff, you know. I thought it was the ignition coil. I changed that. Thought it was the jetting on the carburetor. You know, I messed with that up and down, trying to figure it out. Never could get it dialed in right. What else did I think it was? I don't know. And finally, I think I came across a video. I like to watch Jenny's Garage on YouTube. And he had bought an old weed eater. And he was having all kinds of problems with it. But he realized right away that the crankshaft seals needed to be replaced on that. And some of the symptoms reminded me of the problems I was going through, and I was like, well, wait a minute. And I think people had told me this as well. And I didn't listen. But finally it resonated with me after watching that video. I was like, well, that's my problem. I got to replace these seals. And on the Yamahopper, it's a lot easier than this. Still, you know, kind of intimidating for the beginner. But this is harder because of that stupid gear. The other side's pretty easy. I guess I should do a video for that. You just need a flywheel puller on the other side and the piston stop, and there's a gasket that goes around inside the cover there. And so anyhow, I finally figured out that, you know, before you do the top end, or even put on like just an exhaust pipe, a new performance pipe, you got to do these crankshaft bearing seals. And so anyhow, I've kind of rambled on for quite a while. Or I could just make this a 2-part or 3-part video. Maybe some people want to hear me ramble. I don't know. You know what I mean? Now, on these, got some commentary, you know, saying, hey, you know, you don't need to put the Yamabond on. You should just put grease on it to help it go in. Now, I put grease on the inside, but Yamabond on the outside. And I'm sure there's different schools of thought. The Yamabond actually acts as a lubricant too while it's still wet, to help get that seal in. So, do I absolutely need Yamabond? Probably not. But do I think that it makes a better seal and a longer lasting seal? Probably. Now, you know, feel free to disagree, that's fine. But I've seen others, I've seen experts do it that way. So I'm going to go with that, Alex, for 500. And that is your Audio Daily Double. So here's our new seal. It goes in one way, like that. You know, not opened end out, but open end in. And I normally like to push these in with a washer in between, but the washer I have is not quite wide enough to get around the crankshaft. So, shoot me. I'll do it this way with just the PVC pipe. Again, you know, you can obtain this at the hardware for next to nothing. And let's see if this one will go on a little easier. So, where's our new one? Let's make sure we got the new one ready to go. I'm going to still use Yamabond. You know, some people might not like it. Some viewers at home. They might be saying to themselves, oh God, he's doing it again. The Yamabond. Doesn't he know that that's just not necessary? Well, like I said, man, I'm going for it. I'm gonna put a little more, a little thicker than I did last time. I went a little thin. And again, this stuff is not good for you. Try not to inhale too much of it. I've got that exhaust fan hopefully pulling all the nastiness outside. Although, got a little smell of it there. Woo-wee. Alright, let's give her a go. Let's see if this one it came out easy. I better strap her down. Where's that mallet? Now the other thing, man, these damn, I removed the oil tank from this thing, but it leaked oil over the years everywhere. I'm still cleaning it up. Alright, hang on. Pushing the whole kit and caboodle. West America. I forgot to put grease on the inside. Oh well. Went in just a little. Yeah, I gotta even it up. There we go. I might have just about done it. I'll tell you what, man, that went a lot smoother than the last time. I think we got a winner there. Shoot up the end a little bit. All right. Why is this one moving in so easy on me? All right, I probably drove it just a little bit too far, but I think it's still fine. Yeah, that's fine. I should have left well enough alone, but that is maybe just a couple millimeters further in than I would have liked. But I think you got a little margin for error. That should be fine. So anyways, I think the a little more of the Yamabond actually lubricated it and helped it go in easier. So live and learn. But anyhow, I think that's fine. So, what time is it? I'm not sure if I'm going to mess with heating this up now and popping it on, or do that tomorrow. Maybe I've got some time, maybe I'll do it now. I've seen them before where, on the QT50 for example, where they gouged the mating surface with the metal mating surface with the screwdriver or whatever the hell they were using. So what they did was they just drove the seal in a little further than flush, and that seemed to work out. So this should be fine. Like I said in the other video, I get a little freaked out because I want everything just so, but sometimes you just got to live with maybe not exactly as perfect as you wanted. So I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll heat up that gear, pop that on, put it all back together, have it ready to ride in the morn or afternoon or whenever I get it, tomorrow. Have it ready to ride for tomorrow or the next day whenever I get a chance. So that should be fine. You got a bit of room between the seal and the actual bearing, so like I said, you got a little margin for error. And we will see what kind of a difference this makes when I start it up next time. Maybe I'll do a video report, or maybe I'll just report on it. But right now, when you start it up cold, the auto choke engages, and if you hit the throttle at all while that auto choke is still doing its thing, it'll bog out on you. And I'm not sure if that's related to this or not, but could be a carburetor adjustment thing. I don't know. But anyhow, let's just see, get an idea how it runs differently, and go from there. And I'll show you some other goodies. show you. Been doing some work on the chrome. Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, let's go over this way. Tell you what, let's put this up. Come on up. And over here, we put on the chrome exhaust cover. Oh yeah. Cleaned up that. Up in the front. Polish up the frame some, the seat. Like I said, battery acid leaked on that at some time in its past history. If I hadn't have already replaced that seal, and I guess if I had another cover, I'd pop it on there. Or I guess I could possibly repaint it. I don't know. We'll see what I can do, you know. That's the thing with these things. I mean, you could spend a year fiddling with this and that and the other, because there's always something more you can do, right? Maybe I'll leave that to the next owner. Hey, thanks for watching.